before when it came out was like
Super Mario,
next level
really
Mario.
good.
It was like wow.
that and GoldenEye, I remember were like the Beatles and the Stones. Like they were like the biggest. I remember they'd taken over everything. Like those games were so popular.
Yeah.
I really liked the wrestling games, the WWE games. Big surprise.
Oh yeah.
And so watching the progression of that, like,
those were so much fun.
it was always good.
Like No Mercy, the WWF No Mercy on the 64 is still considered like one of the best wrestling video games ever.
Yeah.
And it's like resale value is super
Do you have
high.
your N64 still?
I don't have my original 64. We were, I regret it. We were the kind of, when the new system came out, we would trade everything into like
GameStop.
It was Funko Land, which is now became GameStop, and so you get pennies on the dollar, not realizing these things would become collectible in the future.
Right.
So it's like we would trade everything in and maybe get like one new game for the new system, and so I have a 64 now. I got it at a garage sale a few years back.
Okay.
So
do you have that wrestling game still?
I don't, but it's one of those things like if I find them at like garage sales or like thrift stores or something, I can get them cheap because.
Vintage stock, baby. They're gonna have to give us sponsorship here in a second.
But you're
So we're working out. Get a lot of money from an antique store.
You're gonna pay eBay prices at a place like that. Like I like to find them more in like the wild for cheap, like the hunting of it. So I have a decent like selection, but like all the heavy hitters like Mario Kart is like a $50 N64 game, and No Mercy is like a $60 game. So. I'll get them eventually.
Okay.
But yeah, I have a 64 finally. Got it a couple years ago.
Cole, most memorable holiday gift.
I'm gonna keep going. Nintendo, the Wii. When we came downstairs and the Wii was downstairs, it was unreal. That thing was so awesome because like one friend in my neighborhood maybe had one. But the best part was we got down. It was in the basement, and
it's funny that like. Everybody's is a video game, and it's just generational based off how.
Yeah. Well, like we got downstairs, and I remember like either my sister and I were talking about it. We were like, "Who do you think got it for us? Do you think Mom got it for us, or do you think Santa got it for us?" And one of us had said, "Santa, of course. Mom couldn't afford this." It's the first thing we said, and she brings it up all the time during Christmas. She's recorded like every single one of our Christmases and has it on recording. I want to hear it back so bad, but yeah, I would say the Wii for sure. Because like
what was the first game?
Definitely just Wii Sports. You could play because it had like 9 games inside the one, and so you could just play bowling for literally hours till your wrist was tired. And then I think either that Christmas or the Christmas later. My cousin didn't put on one of the straps around his wrist and threw
the TV.
Threw it through like the drywall.
That's really interesting. Like your first video game was Wii Sports, and now you're very athletic. Jeremy's was ski racing, and now he lives on a boat.
They were fantastic games. Yeah, I loved the Wii so much.
I think my video game holiday was Sega Genesis. That was the one that did it for me, man.
I remember that system.
Like it was really cool too because it was mine. Like my brother had really bad anger issues growing. Like I watched him take a baseball bat to our original Nintendo in the garage, like because it's broken, it's cheating. Like it was,
The game does be cheating sometimes. the game be cheating sometimes.
Heard it here first, folks.
I swear.
So like that Genesis was actually, it was like for me in my room, and I was like, we are gonna play this.
Yeah.
The Sonic and the X-Men was great.
What was your favorite Genesis game?
The Sega. I mean, dude, I loved the Sonic when it came out. I mean, it was
classic.
The wrestling and Sonic was the new Mario.
Yeah.
With the running, the ring, it was a lot of fun.
The only good Genesis game was Aladdin.
That was fun.
It was really good. And it came out for the 64. I mean, for the Super Nintendo at the same time, but they were different games. Like they had and the Genesis version was better.
The X-Men game was really good.
Yeah, that game.
We had a GameCube, and you could do. We had the 2008 SmackDown versus Raw, and we could hook up the other GameCube, and so you could get like 8 dudes to like get a last man standing. It was so much fun.
Favorite this is gonna release probably right in mid-December. So what's one more holiday question, and then we'll do questions from the beyond.
Right.
What's your favorite holiday food, or what holiday foods are you most looking forward to?
Ooh. Oh man. I kind of, it's a tie between Thanksgiving and Christmas because you could just eat like an absolute pig, and that's the dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like I like kind of like having the event, having like a cocktail and a little bit of wine or whatever while you're eating. It's just very celebratory. I like the vibe, you know.
Is that like an eggnog thing or just
a little eggnog? We'll have eggnog in the fridge, but it's like I always have eggnog and then like dilute it with a little milk or almond milk, because just straight nog, I'm just like
so rich.
I feel my heart dying.
Yeah.
What's wrong? You know what I mean?
We never had eggnog, and I just bought one of those like cardboard containers a couple years ago, and I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
If you
and
really
I didn't put alcohol, I don't drink a lot, so it was just straight nog.
Oh, if you want, and I know of some people that are like, oh, I've made that before, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Look up Charles Mingus, the legendary jazz bassist's eggnog recipe. It's the most alcoholic thing.
Once you said jazz, I was like, it's got to be some kind of concoction.
It's obscene.
There's
it's like,
heroin in it.
It's like pretty much. It's like 2 bottles of brandy, a bottle of whiskey, and then like like eggs and sugar. It's like from scratch, but it's one of those things where it's like you would have 2 cups of this and just be fucked. Like it's so strong.
Do you have a holiday cocktail that you make around Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I mean, I have.
What's the Matt Braunger? What can people make at home?
I have a couple. I think I like a mezcal Negroni, which is Negroni is typically with gin, but I'm a big mezcal, I'm a big agave spirits fan, like tequila, mezcal, sotol, because those are. I like the buzz better, and it's also those are way better on your organs than your brown liquors or even gin. But so that one you basically just make a Negroni, but instead of gin, you put mezcal in, and you can't beat like just a straight up old fashioned, nice brandy or whiskey drink, because that's kind of the vibe. Like if you're gonna have ham, if you're gonna have all that good stuff, real rich foods, just one, just have one of those, and maybe some wine after. And also you
an adult,
yeah. But I'm old, dude.
I love
you said ham, and Dustin made a noise. I'm like, you're the worst Jew
ham
ever.
Is so good.
It's so good. I love that. I love that the question is, what's your favorite? What holiday foods are you looking forward to? And Matt, your response is alcohol.
Booze, baby.
The booze.
Well, didn't you say like, is there a cocktail you?
After, but it definitely just went straight to the alcohol.
Sure. But, if we're talking food, I do like just a big animal that everyone's eating, like a beef roast.
Are you a cooker? I know you
ham.
have a family.
I am, but I'm a huge fan of finding places that will just do it all for you, and you pick it up.
Yeah.
And then you just heat it at home.
Traditional or a little left of traditional?
Traditional, but like my thing is like leave the snacks to me. I'll do the cheese board. I'll do dips, stuff like that. The grazing things before the actual meal, I'll do all that.
Okay.
But like the main, it's like I'd rather just have someone,
Sure.
Find a smoked turkey.
Oh, dude, a smoked turkey or a deep fried one that you don't deep fry.
That you don't have to set your house on fire.
Anyone watch this, don't try it yourself.
We don't recommend.
Don't lose your home.
Yeah.
Or yourself.
People do it in the garage and then burn their house down.
My friend's mom is an ER nurse, and she's like, every Thanksgiving, there's some dad with 3rd-degree burns on his arms and shit.
That sounds terrible.
It's just it's a delicious bird if you can swing it, but you're basically building a bomb. You're building a bomb and going, I hope this doesn't go off.
I have a buddy who's a fireman. And
gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
They're all hands on deck, like the firemen. I have a buddy who's a fireman. Like Thanksgiving is a big, firemen. They're working.
All right, Jeremy, you're the holiday foods you're looking forward to most this year?
I'm a big sides guy, more so than the meat. I like the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, like a good mac and cheese.
Do homemade stuffings?
Not as much anymore, but in the
just
past,
stovetop.
We used to do homemade stuffing.
It's delicious.
Most of my family now are not local here anymore, so we just do kind of a real low key thing. So it's real small. So we just we do a couple things. So I don't really have the big Thanksgiving meal anymore, but I do. I'm a sides guy. That's more so than the actual meat.
That's absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoy Christmas dinner more than I enjoy Thanksgiving dinner because Thanksgiving sometimes it can be so limited.
Yeah.
And you have to do you have to do the turkey, you have to do
it's the traditional. We all know what we're gonna have going into it,
exactly.
But Christmas dinner can
it can go either way. I remember one year we did we did like a seafood broil, and it was the best.
Yeah.
It was like
absolute best.
It was
Nothing
and
better
we all
than a
like
boil.
pitched in for it, and like one person made all of it. It was I think there was one Christmas where it was a seafood broil, and that I haven't had a great.
I'm just over here drooling to ham
I
and
think
shellfish.
and honestly, that's the important thing. It's not, I like ones like my wife doesn't really like Thanksgiving food, so we'll just sometimes we'll just throw it all out the window.
Yeah,
let's do seafood.
Yes, yeah. Like
it's
a jambalaya
is
so good.
Together.
Yeah,
It's not,
yeah.
I love a pumpkin dip. Is something like AJ Finney's wife. This is a recipe I got from her, and it's just cream cheese, canned pumpkin. I recommend the pumpkin pie instead of the traditional because it's sweeter for the. Yeah. And then pumpkin pie spice and brown sugar, and you just mix it together and eat it with graham crackers, and it is so good.
Wow!
It is so
it's like a dessert dip.
Yeah, but it's like a pre-dinner because Thanksgiving is very sweet and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Right, so it's so good. It's like an appetizer dessert.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is, and so I always enjoy that. And then the leftovers from that for a couple days. Yeah, for sure. That's one of my favorites there. All right, we did something new and it worked. We asked you at home what questions you would like us to ask Matt Braunger, and you responded, which is really cool. I'm actually
I'm surprised, dude.
They interacted.
I used to have a podcast where people would call in and ask for advice, and every week it was like pulling teeth, getting people. We get a couple, but it was like. We're like, okay. So we were like, it's always tough when you put that call out, you know?
Right?
Yeah.
We have a few. We didn't get to everybody, but we did get to most people. I think if we didn't, it was just a weird question. So, Candy Valencia asked, apple pie or pumpkin pie?
Ooh. If I got to pick one, apple.
Apple pie?
Yeah, it's like, but it's tough. It is tough.
Are you doing hot apple pie a la mode?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Got to.
Okay.
Got to.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the ice cream puts it over the top.
Over the top.
Though I do, when I do make pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, I make maple whipped cream, which you basically just take heavy cream and pour maple syrup into it and throw it in the blender.
Blender or mix master?
Either. And then just, mix master. But
so
then
maple syrup and heavy cream and
it's it.
Oh, maple whipped cream.
That's it. It's on. I had a friend.
And you said blender?
Or a Cuisinart or just a whisk super fast.
I might have to try that.
I had a friend at Thanksgiving. We used to have these just alcoholic friendsgivings in LA, just a house full of assholes.
Just didn't have families.
And I had that pie out and I had the whipped cream, and I had a deeply stoned friend follow me around eating it, and he kept yelling "fuck you" at me because he couldn't stop eating it. What the fuck? Why'd you put this in my life? Upstairs, he's following me around the party. I'm just like, you have to stop, man. But it is so good, yeah. But apple pie a la mode is like, that's the belt. That takes the belt. So good. Sure.
Funny man Brett Gilbert asked, do you still do the owl bit?
No. God, no. Dude, when I brought that joke back when I was in LA, and that opened a lot of doors for me, that joke. Because my manager at the time was like, what is this joke? Like, she saw like an old clip of me doing it. Kyle and all the Chicago guys were like, you're bringing back that fucking bit? That shit's like 2 years old. So it was old when I brought it back. But yeah, I wouldn't even remember how to do it now. Yeah.
I reworded this question so it would make sense.
It originally started, hey, fucking asshole.
This is from a fan who's, I don't want to call you out, so you don't have to answer this, but I'm going to ask it for him.
Oh, shit.
By the end of After Midnight, Brandon Natchbar asked, by the end of After Midnight, how fed up were you with Johnny Pemberton? He could see it. He said he could see it in your face, so he wants to know.
I did throw in a dig. I said, I love how Johnny's answers are all short stories. Because for some reason, 3 or 4 times, he just kept going and kept going and going and going. And I'm like, I'm only annoyed. I'm not annoyed for me. I got nowhere to be.
Right.
Literally, the Paramount lot is blocks away from my kid's daycare.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just like, I'm going to pick her up after this, and we'll be done with plenty of time. I'm not on a clock. But I'm also looking at the crew. And they're having fun.
Right.
But I'm also like, Johnny. Wrap it up. Come on. And I fucking love Johnny Pemberton, dude. I mean, yeah. That's so funny.
It's funny.
He could see it.
Nicholas Damani, our chef, asked. He wants me to ask you to rate our food. Have you had our food? Did you
Not
eat
this.
here?
I had it last time, and it's
better.
frankly spectacular, especially compared to other comedy clubs.
Thank you.
No, because that's kind of the new vibe I've noticed in the past 5 years, where people are going, we really got to pay attention to this shit. Because when I started out in clubs, you'd have it was brutal. It was, I just see them tear open the frozen bags of chicken fingers and stuff like that.
Outside of cheese curds and our fried shrimp, we are basically a scratch kitchen.
That's incredible.
And sauces, but most of our sauce, a lot of our sauces outside of like honey mustard and ranch, but they're trying to get on me to let them start making that scratch too.
Ooh, that's really cool, dude.
Our sandwich, the teriyaki chicken,
Korean
the
barbecue.
Korean barbecue
every
chicken.
time.
That's the one you have.
If I'm working here, it's absolutely at least
so
one
good.
night.
I've
At
heard
least.
I've heard multiple at least 2 or 3 headliners in the past month, which probably means 2 of them have said like this is the best sandwich they've ever had at a comedy club.
Eagle Wit walked into the room. He was like, "I fucking love you guys. That was the best sandwich I've ever had." And I was like, "We love you too, man." Like, cool.
Drake Nelson, he would like. Will you tell him who the booker is so he can get booked here himself? Who's that? Drake Nelson would like you to tell him who the booker is.
Drake, his first name is Dustin.
No,
It's me.
First name is Cole.
Yeah. You gotta follow me on Instagram in order.
Cole Kaufman. Just find him.
Yeah, it'd be funny if someone just how'd you get that gig, man? You know that's the ultimate comedian. Yeah. Oh, you're on Don't Tell. How'd you get that? How'd you just code for why you, not me?
Yeah.
Lori Chapman, longtime fan of the club. She's come here a long time. She has 2 questions, I think. Maybe you know what? Let's do both. What city have you performed in that you would consider moving to?
Oh God, there's a bunch. Off the top of my head, Missoula, Montana.
I love Montana. Dude.
Not
Huckleberries.
not just because I'm here. Honestly, Kansas City. Specifically, I like how this town has kept its art scene and a real big youth scene, and it doesn't seem to be prohibitively priced like places like Chicago or
Housing
even
market is going up, but it is now nowhere near.
It's not through the roof like, say, Bozeman, Montana, which locals are calling Bose Angeles from all the people moving from where I live to there. Every time I go home to Portland, I'm like, when am I going to move back here? And I may someday.
So you think about it.
But yeah, like if I'm being a total maniac, like St. Petersburg, Florida.
Okay.
It's just, it's like there's no way. It's that, God bless them, but if the climate crisis continues the way it is, that place won't exist in 20 years. That said, you go and it's just an island that's just
Montana might be the safest place to go.
Maybe. Yeah.
And you have huckleberries.
And every time I'm anywhere near the Great Lakes.
Oh yeah.
Like Michigan, Minneapolis and St. Paul. Yeah. So
Lori Chapman's second question, what's the weirdest place you've slept?
In my life?
You answer that how you want.
Off the top of my head.
Maybe as a comic or
the bathroom of the condo for the La Jolla Comedy Store.
Oh my
A couple friends of mine were playing it, and a friend and I were playing. La Jolla is right by San Diego, and a friend and I were playing. Kyle Kinane actually, and I were doing a show together in San Diego. And we went to visit these guys, and we partied and shit. And we're like, we'll just crash here, and there's nowhere to sleep. But I put a blanket down on the bathroom floor, and I slept there.
So funny.
I think there was another. Yeah, I forget who it was, but there's another comedian in there with me on the other side of the room. Yeah.
When I first moved, when I first went to LA, I think I went and decided to stay, and then I met a guy. I had nowhere to stay. I was kind of sleeping in my car at first, and I met a guy at the Comedy Store who wasn't a comedian, but he was a fan, and he was staying at the Jim Morrison room at the hotel right by there.
Oh, yeah.
And I slept on the floor of that room for like 3 days.
Oh, that's crazy.
There's a drawing of my face in the shower still there.
That's wild. Like, I had a friend who worked at the Chateau Marmont on the Sunset Strip, and that's a place that they like cater to celebrities and stuff. And my friend had like a book release party there, and he's got all these insane stories of all this that he can never share. It's just like a walking NDA. But this is a little bit of a tangent, but I was thinking about like I have a friend I was having coffee with here who's also a comic, and we were talking about how we're pretty happy with how our lives are going and careers. Whereas when we were younger, it was kind of like, oh, I got to get to this point. I got to get to this point. I got to do better. I got to, oh, why is that person, killing it and I'm not, whatever. But there's a story about,
which is the worst mindset you could ever.
Yeah, comparison truly is a thief of joy. But there's a story that David Chang, the chef, was talking about Anthony Bourdain and how miserable he was at the end. And one reason he was so sad is because he was so famous he couldn't go anywhere. And like he was in the Chateau Marmont. And if you're staying there, you can be the most famous person in the world. They will guard your security and your privacy. They had to hide Anthony Bourdain in a closet in one of the rooms.
Wow.
To move his psycho fans out of the hotel that had snuck in to meet him. Imagine having that kind of fucking life where it's kind of like, we're all in the business, 3 of us are comics, and it's you kind of have that thing of like, wow, what would it be like to have all of this? And it's like, yeah, but what would you give up?
We're hoping this podcast does that for the comedy club. We're closing, guys.
We're turning
get out
people
of the
away
bathroom.
every night.
I would just like to get recognized. That's what I would like.
Fire marshal showing up every day. Dustin,
You're
come on,
way
man.
past capacity.
Come on, stop.
Yeah, last night I was leaving the green room to come to the lobby, and this guy, this audience member, came out. And it's right after my set. And he was looking for the bathroom, and he was walking towards the green room. I'm like, the bathroom's there, and he goes, "Oh man, great." He's like, I just saw you and got starstruck, and I was like, that is not the right word. I am not a star, and you're not starstruck. I just did 20 minutes of comedy in the city, like.
All right, we just got a couple more questions here from the fans. These are great though. Keep writing these in. I love.
This is so awesome.
Yeah,
people wrote stuff in.
Christian Ringer asked, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I don't know. Just like the wise owl, I break and crack that shit open. I don't like the flavor of a Tootsie Roll inside of the hard candy.
There's a better chocolate for me.
Yeah. And is it chocolate? It's one of those things where it's like, what is a Tootsie Roll flavor? It's fine.
Yeah.
But it
doesn't taste like chocolate.
Expire. It doesn't go anywhere.
It's one of those ones like a Werther's that's just like, I don't even. Yeah, I don't need the sugar. If I'm gonna have the sugar, give me like something more delicious.
Give me a lemon meringue.
I'll fuck up a Werther's original.
Well, yeah,
okay. Like a grandma candy. I'm all about
respect.
Cool. All right, our last fan question comes to us from someone named Dustin Kaufman. What is the best comedy club ever? Is it A, the Comedy Club of Kansas City, or B, the Comedy Club of Kansas City? What a weird question, Matt.
There is a comedy club in Kansas City. I'm forgetting the name. This club is definitely, I would say at the very least in the top like 15 to 10 of clubs in the country, because like not only do you have, I can't say anyone was number one.
Okay, what is the best comedy club in Kansas City at 103rd and State Line between a South Side Bar and Grill and a Great Clips owned by Dustin Kaufman?
Wait, you own Ugly Joe's? Just picked a random off the top of my head. I just knew that.
Okay.
Other place that serves alcohol.
What is the best comedy club with the address 1130 West?
The Comedy Club of Kansas City. It'd be funny if Ugly Joe's had a comedy night. You're like, fuck you.
You know what's funny is that's how I wanted it to go. I thought about asking you to answer anything else the first 2 times, so I am so glad that you did that.
That's good.
Man, I want to thank you guys for coming on. Cole Fletcher, where can people find you online?
At Cole Fletcher Live on Twitter and Instagram. And Twitch.
Any projects you're working on?
I'm working on just streaming really on Twitch.
Okay. What are you streaming? Video game?
Yeah, just all mostly video games, and I'll have a podcast here soon.
What are you playing?
It's all like Space Marine Warhammer, Cyberpunk 2077, COD, and CFB.
How's that going?
It's going. It's all right. I just
you have some subscribers?
Yeah, I've got like 3 right now. So yeah, we're gonna get up.
Oh, we'll get you to 5 at least, dude.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Follow him on Twitch.
Cole.
What's the Twitch?
At Cole Fletcher Live is my Twitch as well.
Yeah, so follow him. We'll get you to 5. So
come on.
If you suddenly see a very mediocre spike in a month, you'll know it's
But suddenly.
Jeremy, where can they find you? What are you working on?
Jeremy Smith Comedy on Instagram. I think I'm Jeremy NKC on Twitter, but I don't really use Twitter too much anymore.
X.
Yeah, X. But yeah, I'm trying Instagram. I'm gonna try to use Threads more often now. But yeah, Jeremy Smith Comedy, and yeah, I, don't have too much in the works as far as just I'm trying to do more stand up. So, and I'm having fun with it.
Nice.
You're killing it this week, by the way.
Yeah.
Both you guys.
Those pickup lines are just crushing, and like you're doing, they love you from the second you walk on stage. So like, the fact that you do so well and then have such a closer like with those pickup lines, I love watching it right now.
Thanks, man. It's been fantastic. Those were something I wrote and did for like a one-off show for the group I used to be in. We did a pickup line battle, and it was like two of us going back and forth doing pickup lines, and like we put the video online, and they like blew up. Nice. Relatively blew up we had no following.
You should start releasing them like one at a time.
Yeah,
just get that quick content.
I need to for sure, and then
that could help your Instagram for sure.
Mr. Riz Smith over here.
Yeah, so I just tried them doing stand up once, and it went great, and so I was like, maybe I'll close with them, and it's been working really good. So
that's great.
Nice,
yeah.
Matt.
MattBraunger.com. I got a bunch of shows for. This is it. This is my last weekend for the year.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, I had a. Yep, closing it out strong. I had a weekend in Batavia, Illinois. It's a club called the Comedy Vault, and I had to move it. So I've got. This is it for the year. And then
I'm actually familiar with the Comedy Vault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're good people. They're also independent owners.
We have a
which
mutual
is cool.
former marketing firm.
Oh, right on. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they're doing cool stuff out there in the suburbs. They also have a music venue and stuff. So
they do, yeah.
I love when people go, okay, let me go just to this little zone because I live here and I love it, and kind of just really take that ultimate leap, which is opening a small business.
So you enjoy that? They're doing
this is my
good?
Second time there, and they were great to me, and it's a fun little area, and there's a couple surrounding towns I explored and stuff. It's pretty great.
Any projects you're working on? Any new specials you want people to watch? Anything you want people to watch?
No new specials, no nothing. I'm working on getting everything in line for that, as well as a couple other projects, and not to be that coy dickhead, but I can't talk about it, but I've got stuff that's in the pike, but kind of stay tuned. In the meantime, follow me online or go see me if I come to your town. I'm on Punch Up Live, so you can just put your email in there and it'll notify you by zone, so when I'm coming to your town. Because I was saying to you, it's all about promotion, because I don't want to get those emails I almost always get where it's I'll get at least one. When are you coming to Kansas City? I'll get that in a week or 2 weeks. Always.
Well, if you see a very mediocre influx of those emails in about a month, you'll know where it came from. But a
sudden influx.
Sudden
influx. Sudden. That's the album name. That's the new special name. Sudden and Mediocre.
I didn't even I ask you, but there's subtly I got the Marvel hoodie on, and you are part technically of the Marvel universe too. So
Dr. Samberly, yeah, for sure.
Great. I mean, that was a fun show too. Was that exciting?
Dude, it was one of those things where I didn't even audition. They just found a clip of me, of where me and Kyle in this courtroom scene from this pilot I did for Comedy Central 100 years ago, and they were like, "Oh, does he want to play this wacky scientist in one scene?" And I was supposed to be going on vacation. My wife was like, well, let's just go a couple days late and you go do this thing. And I went and I was like, yeah. And I did it. And then they same thing that happened on Up All Night, same thing that happened on a couple other shows. They just kept writing me into shit. They kept putting me in these scenarios, because it's that's kind of the Marvel formula, where it's high stakes, action, serious stuff, and then one person that's making it kind of funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where Robert Downey Jr., he'll kind of do both with his quips and shit, but I was just this guy who, and it's the thing that it doesn't bug me, but I go, man, if they released Agent Carter now, because it is the crew of misfits. It's the X-Files. There's these interesting missions where it was it's set in the 40s. There's a female leader. Her boss is a dude who is basically a cripple, which at the time was looked at as you're the other. There's a black scientist and then a fucking nerd. So we're just like this group that's
awesome.
like no one will let us look at the big files, but we're doing the real work. And
they have I mean, Agent Carter, that character has kind of done a lot in the MCU since that appearance, at least on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
here and there.
And Haley Atwell was like one of the nicest and most professional people I've ever worked with in my life. And
awesome.
she's been through a lot of bullshit. It's funny to talk to those people who are just like, oh yeah, everyone thinks I slept with Ben Affleck. I'm like, what? She's like, we left a party at the same time. She's like, I went to my mom's house, and the next day it's in the paper.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, wait.
Okay.
You're just like, being a male actor is so much fucking easier than being a female. It's like
you can just leave when you want.
It's just ridiculous.
When you're a male actor, you can leave when you want. Just like I'm going to leave right now.
Right.
So, man, I want to thank you guys for coming on. For Cole Fletcher, Jeremy Smith, and of course, Mr. Matt Braunger. You're welcome for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. God, this made my life.
Really needed it. Really needed it.
And to Sierra behind the cameras, keeping everything looking and sounding beautiful. We will, again, find us the Comedy Club, KC, across the board. Come see a show. I'm Dustin Kaufman, and we'll see you next week. Bye.